Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We've got a story that's raising important questions about our country's resources, borders, and the laws that shape who can live and work here. During a recent parliamentary discussion, lawmakers were told that South Africa doesn't have unlimited resources, and that certain immigration acts urgently need repealing. Please stay with me until the end so you can see the sources and verify the details for yourself. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss news that impacts all of us. Let's get into it. The issue has come to a head during a parliamentary session focused on immigration policy. Lawmakers from different parties weighed in on how current immigration laws are outdated, inconsistent, and no longer fit for the complex realities we face today. One key point stood out, as one MP said, South Africa doesn't have unlimited resources. And when that simple fact collides with our constitutional commitments, our courts, and broad public opinion, it becomes clear that some of these laws just aren't working. The call was made for the repeal or serious amendment of particular statutes that have become more of a barrier than a benefit. We can sum up why this matters like this. Immigration policy is supposed to balance three key things: sovereignty, compassion, and sustainability. Sovereignty means borders and laws are respected. Compassion means offering refuge and opportunity where it's needed. Sustainability means we don't promise more than the country can deliver. But when the laws are outdated or overly punitive, all three of those pillars begin to wobble. At the heart of the debate are laws like the Immigration Act, which some MPs argue was written in a very different time, with different threats, lower migration flows, and fewer regional partnerships. The Act includes provisions that criminalize certain forms of undocumented migration, and those tools are being used in ways that can harm people who have built lives here, people who contribute, who pay rent, and who are part of local communities. Lawmakers argued that simply enforcing the rules more strictly won't help, because the rules themselves are too rigid. Some parliamentarians also raised concerns about how these laws affect access to services. Social grants, healthcare, schooling. There are instances where migration laws interfere with what should be humanitarian access. People worry about pregnant women being turned away, or children not allowed into school because of paperwork. That undermines not only the humanity of the Act, but also our constitutional promise to caring governance. In that context, parts of the debate focused on the need to repeal or amend specific sections that criminalize undocumented entry, or that make it extremely difficult for people to regularize their status once here. Instead, lawmakers recommended shifting to a more fluid system of temporary permits, which can be extended or converted under certain conditions. That way, people aren't pushed underground, which leads to exploitation, but instead become visible and accountable. It also offers a revenue path through permit fees and compliance checks, helping rather than draining the system. Of course, that does not mean open borders or no regulation, far from it. Many MPs emphasized that borders still matter, national security still matters, and enforcement still matters. But enforcement needs to be smart, targeted, and, here's the word for South Africa, humane. It should focus on serious criminal syndicates, not on vulnerable individuals. It must pay attention to context. A refugee child separated from their documents is not the same as an organized smuggler. The tone in Parliament was serious but measured. Lawmakers from opposition parties and the ruling party united around the need for reform. Civil society and academic analysts who have long criticized the Immigration Act called it a landmark shift, saying it reflects how the law is catching up to social realities. At the practical level, they want to see technical working groups brought in, including Home Affairs, Departments of Health and Social Development, Justice, and of course Parliament. The idea is to create pathways that protect rights and promote growth, instead of driving people into the shadows. That said, there's pushback too. Some voices warn that overly flexible or lenient policies would undermine security and erode public trust. They point to towns near borders where public services are already overwhelmed. So the challenge is real: how to build a system that cares and that secures. For South Africans watching, many of you have been personally affected by crime, lack of services, unemployment. You want to know, will repealing old laws mean chaos? Or will it help bring people out of fear and into regulation, where they pay, live openly, and contribute? That's the test. The work ahead will require good communication and strong public management. On a lighter note, I have to say this issue is serious, but sometimes a little humor helps ease the talk. So imagine if immigration permits came with a t-shirt that says "I've got my papers and I love South Africa," that way people don't just wear the t-shirt, they live the meaning. Or picture a robot at Home Affairs trying to stamp passports and getting stuck in a loop saying, "Did you bring all your documents again?" It's absurd, but only slightly more uncomfortable than waiting in that queue in winter without your folder. Ultimately, the conversation we are witnessing in Parliament is one of those rare moments when policy and empathy meet. Recognizing that we don't have unlimited resources is not defeat, it's honesty. It's the first step toward practical, human-centered governance. And that's something worth watching. As this process develops, I'll keep you updated. Thank you for staying with me till the end. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay informed on how governance, policy, and real life intersect here in South Africa. All images used are for illustration purposes only. Sources include parliamentary debate coverage, statements from political analysts, and reports from civil society organizations.